Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's the 11th of December, hence the Christmas garb that myself and Councillor Tully are wearing. But welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting for the 11th of December, and we're starting the meeting at 9 a.m. I'll call attendance at commencement. So we have Councillor Augustine, Councillor Tully, Councillor Doyle, Councillor Antonelli, Councillor Martin, Councillor Madden. We know that Councillor Madden's stuck in traffic, and I'm not quite sure about the Deputy Mayor, but she would normally text me. I guess we'll work on that later. We'll then now go to an acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud people. This morning we're very fortunate to have Assistant Minister James Nodder from the Central Church who's going to give us our opening prayer and lead up to Christmas. So I'll ask you to come back up. Thank you. Please get you to state your name, the church, and please feel free to let us know what you're doing over Christmas or what your church does before you take us into prayer. James.
Part of the team at Central Church, the main part of our buildings are just across the road, of course, but we also have two other churches, one out west at Plainland and one further east from here at Bellbird Park. I've got two hats, so one of my hats is to connect into the community, to share Jesus with people in the community and to help them to explore matters of faith. My second hat is to be the pastor of Bellbird Park Church, where we meet in the Bellbird Park State School. And so we've been there this last year, and it's been a wonderful experience for us. The school wants a partnership, not just a tenant. And so we've been exploring ways of being their partner this year, including funding a chaplain for an extra day in the school, but also helping at the Breakfast Club. And I've just come this morning straight from the Breakfast Club, which was the last of the year. And touchingly, they gave us the Partnership Award, which we just received 2 days ago, which was a wonderful part of our journey with them. So it's great to be here with you this morning. And I'm going to commit our proceedings to the Lord and to ask for his guidance and help in all matters before us. So please bow your heads and let me lead us in a prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of living in this region at this time. Thank you for the gift of democracy, for representative government, and for shared power. We are grateful for the challenge and the blessing of making decisions together. As our regional council meets today, and as we citizens look on, we ask you to guide proceedings. Please, we pray, restrain any impulses towards tyranny, greed, or domination that can tempt every human heart. We thank you for the peace that we enjoy, for our families, our homes, our friends, and our community. Thank you for the daily blessings that lighten our troubles, for the bonds that connect us, and for the meaning, purpose, and the hope that we share. We recognize that these councillors before us, whom we elected, reflect our hopes, our concerns, and our commitment to live well together. Help us as citizens to respect them, to honour them as we honour each other, and to trust that they will work for our common good in a world that suffers. Help our councillors to serve you with you in mind. May they be faithful in discharging this important duty that has been entrusted to them. Give them courage to speak the truth in love. Protect them from the temptations of dishonesty or double-mindedness. Help them to build trust and represent their people faithfully. May they be mindful of their accountability, not just to the electorate, but ultimately to you. And grant us all grace for today and wisdom for every decision, big or small, that affects those we serve and those we love. Give us your peace, we pray. Infuse us with your love. In the name of Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor James. I note the Deputy Mayor has arrived. Apologies and leave of absence, I have none. Condolences received, the council's received a request for a condolence motion for Ian John Lever's APM from Councillor Antonelli late yesterday. So I'll hand over to you, Councillor Antonelli, to move that. And I think the Deputy Mayor is going to second that condolence motion.
Yes, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that the council convey condolences on behalf of the citizens of the City of Ipswich to the family of the late Ian John Lever's APM, who passed away on the 10th of November 2025.
And the Deputy Mayor's seconding it. Thank you. Over to you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Ian Levers, or Levo, as he was known to his friends and colleagues, was born in England in 1967. He moved with his family to Australia when he was a small child before the family settled in the Inala area. From an early age, Levo wanted to be a police officer and finally realised his dream when he entered into the Queensland Police Academy in 1988 and was later sworn into the Queensland Police Service in April 1989. Levo commenced his service in the Brisbane metropolitan area before transferring to the Ipswich Police District in 1995. It was there that I first met Levo, and to say that he left an impression would be an understatement. Levo always had your back. He had an infectious personality and was always interested in how you were going, a trait that held him in good stead for the roles that would ultimately come his way. Ian served the Ipswich community as a General Duties Officer, a Road Safety Officer in the Ipswich Traffic Branch, and then as an investigator in the Ipswich Juvenile Aid Bureau, now known as the Child Protection Investigation Unit. He was promoted to Sergeant at the Yamato Police Station in 2008. However, it would be in his role as a union delegate, representative, and then ultimately an office bearer of the Queensland Police Union of Employees that Levo would shine and become revered for. Having been a local delegate at Ipswich for a number of years, he was elected as a union representative for the southern region, an area which stretches from Ipswich to well beyond Roma, in 2005. In 2009, Levo was elected as the president of the Queensland Police Union, a role he fulfilled with diligence and dignity for 15 years before taking up the role of Queensland's inaugural cross-border commissioner. In his role as police union president, Levo delivered multiple improvements to policing conditions, which have had a lasting impact. His advocacy modernised the Queensland Police Union, as well as strengthening the voice of police, not only in Queensland, but across the many jurisdictions of Australasia. During his 15-year presidency of the QPU, Levo promoted officer welfare, professional growth, and recognition of police culture. He advocated for organisational improvements, opportunities for expanding professional standards, and always supported police in the community. His advocacy for officer safety is clearly evident in the many safety features and accoutrements that police now wear in their current duties. However, his legacy will always be the presumptive legislation for police with PTSD, a cause that Levo knew only too well and fought tirelessly to have introduced. Some might think that Levo was all about police welfare and safety. However, driving at the heart of this was always the desire that police were resourced to best serve and protect the people of Queensland. Not many may know, but as a police union president, you retain your rank and remain a sworn officer of the QPS until such time as you leave the service. Levo's time as cross-border commissioner will also lead to lasting improvements in those border communities who struggle with the challenges of working both sides of an invisible line that at times might as well be a brick wall. It is often said that you don't know your influence on people until your funeral. And it must be said that the level of respect that many had for Levo was clearly evident with those in attendance, including 4 current and former Queensland Police Commissioners, the current and former police ministers, Mayor of Goondiwindi Regional Council, Honourable Lawrence Springborg AM, who admitted at the funeral to offering and then sharing his mayoral office with Levo when he was working in town. Numerous representatives of Australasian, federal, state and territory police unions, and of course the many hundreds of current and former Queensland police who were in attendance. Everyone had a story from the heart about a humble, caring and dedicated man and how their lives were enriched from knowing Ian Levo Levers. Levo was a recipient of many honours and citations during his time as a police officer and union president. They include the Queensland Police Service Medal, the National Medal, the National Police Service Medal, the Australian Police Medal. He was also posthumously honoured with the following: the Queensland Police Emergency Response Medal, the Queensland Police Meritorious Service Medal, and finally the Queensland Police Exemplary Conduct Medal with Leadership Clasp, an award usually conferred upon and reserved for commissioned officers. In closing, despite the statewide roles that Levo undertook, he always had a soft spot for Ipswich, having served our community in both uniformed and plainclothes for 14 years. He would ultimately commit his personal time to the City of Ipswich through his role as a board member of the Ipswich Turf Club. And I know that it was his wish that his farewell wake be reserved for a race day at the Bundamba-based Ipswich Turf Club in the future. I understand, and maybe the Deputy Mayor can confirm later, that that day will be Saturday the 10th of January 2026. There will no doubt be many people there to share the many stories and remember a great man, Ian Levo Levers. Farewell, friend and fellow brother in blue. Rest in peace, Ian Levers, APM.
Thank you, Councillor Shelley. 9:12 a.m. Thank you. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to the motion as well?
Thank you. Just to note that the the wake is being held at the Ipswich Turf Club on the 10th of January on a race day. The Ipswich Turf Club held our annual general meeting yesterday, and Levo was dearly missed. There was a seat at the table still for him, and he made a great impression on Ipswich, and he was a kind and loving man.
Yep.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Tully, I know that you went to the funeral. Do you wish to say anything, or you're...
Just very briefly, I got to know him over a number of years. The last time I saw him, he was at the local government conference on the Gold Coast, in his capacity as the cross-border commissioner. In politics, you meet people, you're close to them, but you don't socialise with them, and you know them and you can talk to them. And he was, of course, always at the Ipswich Cup, and I saw him there over a number of years, actually. He was a good mentor. If I'll put a bit of levity on it, I remember one time I was there with a former councillor, and he was telling us about the new app called Signal, which anyone in politics, I'll say this quite bluntly, if you wanted to avoid the CCC listening to your phone calls, get an app called Signal. And but I did make the point to my colleague later, you never know when technology changes. It could have changed the next day, but he was always forthright. He was the person I enjoyed the company of, and he had a commitment to the city. But in the cross-border position, he explained to a few of us there at the Gold Coast conference how it was working. I didn't realise until then that the cross-border commissioner had to give up. It's not a police appointment. He had to give up his role, which apparently distressed him to some extent, because, as Councillor Antonelli said, when you lead the police union or any of the executive officers who are full-time in the union, they keep their rank in the police service, but not the cross-border commissioner. And that that was something he regretted, but it was a role I think he would have played a significant part in the future. He made the point that places like Gundawindi on the border with New South Wales are quite different from Tweed Heads and Coolangatta, and he was a very intellectual sort of person, and I enjoyed his company, and it's our city and Queensland, sorry for his passing.
Thank you. Did you wish to say something else, Councillor Kelly?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I thank my fellow councillors for their kind words towards Ian. I do remember that former Commissioner Bob Atkinson got up and spoke about his first time that he met Ian, and it was in response to a article he wrote as a regional delegate, in which he described the words within the union delegate report that some persons in high office within, or a person within high office within the police service, should elevate their posterior base to a level where their audible skills were more inclined towards the general membership of the police service, or words to that effect. In other words, he was suggesting that the commissioner should get off of his backside and listen to the members, but the former commissioner was too kind to use those words in the funeral. But that said, it led to a long friendship that he had with Bob Atkinson, and each of the commissioners said that they had incredible respect for a man who worked tirelessly for the general membership of the Queensland Police Service. And as I said earlier, I got to work with Ian, a more dedicated police officer you will not have found, and certainly a more dedicated union leader you would not find either. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing that condolence motion here, Councillor Anthony. Item 6, tributes, and there are none. Item 7 is a presentation of petitions, and we have a petition for toilet and change room facilities at Caledonian Park, Thiguna. The recommendation from the council is that the petition be received and referred to the relevant council department for investigation and report back to appropriate committee meeting. But I guess to open the discussion, I'll move that item. I don't know who, Councillor Madden said he'll second it. In speaking to, and normally we don't speak to petitions, but this is probably an unusual one, and I thank the member of Ipswich West, Wendy Bourne, for her interest in local government matters, but this petition's probably come a bit too late. By the time it actually had come to council, council had already resolved to address it, and thanks to the advocacy of the Division 4 councillors, Councillor Jim Madden and Councillor David Martin, $80,000 has been committed, I think, from the Tea Tree funding to look at the, I think, the 3 different options for that there as well. So I guess I'm open to discussion about, I don't think it really needs to go to a committee meeting. I think it just needs to be, I think, accepted and no further action required. But I'll hand over to the seconder to see what it is. Microphone.
Mayor, I'll just say this. In my notice of motion that I've given notice to, I'll say more about this matter when I get to that point in the meeting. Okay.
I'll leave for other discussion. Councillor Antonelli's got his microphone.
I was just going to say that perhaps in light of that, just receiving it might not be sufficient. It may be advisable to advise the chief petitioner of the present status.
That is standard in our, with all petitions, that happens automatically. But thank you. Councillor Martin, is the other Division 4 councillor, do you wish to?
No, I just concur with what you said, Mayor, and also my fellow councillor, Councillor Madden. We've already been looking at the issue, so it's going to come a little bit late. In all honesty, it's already happening. Yeah. Thank you.
In that case, as the mover, I'll move that the petition be received and no further action is required. As the seconder, Councillor Madden, are you okay with that? Okay, so I'll let Vicky put that up. Noting that's a standard process that the petitioner will be contacted.
Just noticed my mic wasn't on when I spoke to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine with that. What you're doing.
Fine. Thank you. I'll open that up for discussion. That particular motion. If there's no further discussion, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Item 8 is presentations and deputations. There are none. Item 9 is public participation, and we have Ms Nicole Yarrow, who is participating in public participation. So Ms Yarrow, if I could get you to come up to the lectern. She will be making a statement, an impact statement and feedback regarding an event that was held at 585-615 Rosewood Laidley Road in Calvert. Ms Yarrow, thank you so much for participating in this, and I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself, and please feel free to continue.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Harding, Ms Cooper and councillors. My name is Nicole Yarrow, and I'm a direct neighbour to the Sexfest event site. I would like to provide first-hand details of the impacts experienced throughout the event period. This feedback is important to ensure accurate documentation of the lived experience of affected residents, and to support my recommendation for improvements to the processing and assessment of future teal applications. So impacts I observed was at least 100 vehicles entering and exiting the event site daily between the hours of 6:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. These vehicle movements generated excess noise outside normal hours. The vehicle movements generated considerable dust which settled across neighbouring properties, all of which rely solely on tank water. These vehicle movements generated noticeable deterioration to the surface of Henderson Road. Nudity was visible from surrounding properties while neighbours were undertaking normal daily activities. Amplified noise carrying sexual content was heard from over 1 kilometre away. Patrons approached and haggled my husband and me while we were working in our paddocks. I witnessed road rage incidents between patron and local residents. Rubbish was disposed of on Henderson Road. Rosewood Laidley Road was used as an informal event exit, creating safety concern for motorists. Early entry to the site was observed from the 31st of October, well before the official event period. The most significant concern I wish to highlight is that the organiser and property owner remained completely disengaged from neighbouring residents. At no stage did they collaborate, consult or communicate regarding the event's nature, impact or management. The event organiser was not contactable. This lack of transparency and community consideration is deeply concerning, given the scale of the event and its intention to continue annually. Neighbouring residents were left to go it alone. Engagements from council met with resistance, opposition, and at times accusations of manufacturing problems. As a commercial primary producer, I should be able to undertake my daily farming activity responsibilities without undue disturbance, obstruction, or impact arising from neighbouring events or activities. To ensure future teal applications are assessed with a strong focus on community impact and responsible event management, I recommend stronger checks and balances in the teal assessment process, including clearer criteria relating to environmental, social and safety impacts. Recognition that rural does not mean secluded. Rural areas do not have ambient noise or street lighting to buffer activities. This event was both heard and seen from considerable distance. Mandatory, proactive and documented engagement with all direct neighbours by event organisers as part of the application process. Inclusion of councillors in assessment of event applications, enabling elected representatives to be a part of the approval process. In alignment with council's mission, together we proudly enhance the quality of our life for our community. It is essential that the lived experiences of neighbours are meaningfully considered and that community wellbeing is prioritised in the evaluation of all future applications. Again, I thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Arabella. It's a big thing to come up here, so thank you very much for coming along. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And just to follow on from that, the councils and myself have asked the council officers to give us a briefing on that particular event, including the many complaints we have received from residents, the compliance action, photos and other things that have been sent to us. And that briefing's happening late January. So we'll go through that and see what steps we can take from then. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ms. Yarrow. I now move on to item 10, which is the matters of public interest. And I have a matter of public interest, which is 2025 year in review. As we gather for our final council ordinary meeting of 2025, I'd like to reflect on some of the moments that defined our year. Together with the community, we faced challenges, celebrated milestones, and strengthened the foundations to shape a stronger future for Ipswich. This was a year of steady progress across the city on transport infrastructure. We welcomed 4 new bus routes, delivering 1,198 new weekly services and 8,000 residents benefiting from bus services for the first time. The Springfield Parkway and Greenbank arterial upgrade reached a major milestone, doubling traffic capacity and improving safety for more than 30,000 daily commuters. The first sod was turned on the upgrade of Ripley Road, and the Ripley Valley secured a record $73.6 million investment from the state government, unlocking over 11,000 new homes through key road upgrades. Out in our rural communities, roads at Calvert, Mount Forbes and Ironbark were upgraded. The Hiddenvale Road Bridge was upgraded, while Adelong Avenue is in the final stages of its long-awaited transformation. After 7 years of engagement with almost 100,000 community members, Council adopted a new planning scheme and local government infrastructure plan. The Ipswich City Plan 2025 replaces a 2-decade-old scheme and promotes building up, not out, allowing for more than 100,000 homes to be built in the next 20 years in areas supported by transport and essential services, while strengthening heritage protections. This year also marked a turning point in our long campaign to secure an independent inquiry into the health impacts of waste odours. The Swanbank Public Health Inquiry, informed by 500 resident submissions, confirmed that the health impacts are, while not cancer-causing, very real and in some cases quite debilitating. It made 8 recommendations, all supported by the Queensland Government, who will work with the waste industry, council and the community to implement them. As a council, we've pushed for upgrades to key infrastructure such as the Amberley intersection at Cunningham Highway, the Mount Crosby Road interchange and a new interchange there on the Warrego, and the Bremer River Bridge repairs. We also added Brisbane 2032 in our plans for a synthetic athletics track as an advocacy priority for our city, as we continue to champion for the aspirations of our community. We celebrated a milestone birthday with Ipswich turning 165 years old in March, and we marked 175 years of Ipswich libraries, older than the city itself. It was a reminder that our community has always valued knowledge and connection. The Ipswich Civic Centre also marked its 50th anniversary with a week of celebrations. We were honoured to work with the Queensland Premier David Crisafulli and the White family to celebrate the life of Redbank Plains grandmother Violene White. Working closely with her family members, we unveiled a memorial arbour in Colo Gardens in June on Violene's birthday, ensuring her memory will live on in our hearts and our community and the impact of what happened to her going forth in our community. This year has marked a real turning point for our city heart, as we have seen our neglected mall turn into a modern and thriving city centre, with the Nicholas Street precinct notching up more than 2.2 million visitations this year alone. We've delivered more than 50 events, and the precinct has received multiple national awards for its urban regeneration. This year also brought moments of resilience. In the aftermath of ex-tropical cyclone Alfred, we welcomed the Governor-General of Australia, the Governor of Queensland and the Disaster Recovery Minister to meet with residents and volunteers impacted by flooding. Their visits were a reminder of the strength of our community and the importance of standing together. Our campaign to bring Ed Sheeran's pop-up pub to Ipswich captured the imaginations and put our city in the global spotlight. This culminated with Warner Music Australia commissioning a mural in the Nicholas Street precinct, which we hope is a positive sign of things to come when Ed visits Australia early next year. Sport and youth have been on the front and centre this year. The Ipswich Youth Advisory Council doubled in size, giving 61 young leaders a stronger voice in shaping our future. Ipswich was confirmed as a co-host city for the Brisbane 2032 Games as part of the 100-day infrastructure review. Premier Night Cricket is now possible thanks to the new lighting at Ivor Marsden Park, and the Silver Jubilee Sports Facility Clubhouse at Spring Mountain was completed. We are now only weeks away from turning the first sod on the North Ipswich Reserve's new Western Grandstand. We also hosted the Ipswich Sports Forum, which brought together representatives from 33 clubs and associations to join with council and community leaders to discuss the challenges and aspirations of our sporting community. We launched a new multicultural advisory committee, ensuring every voice is heard and valued. In that same spirit of connection and inclusion, we strengthened international ties with a delegation to Nerima City in Japan, celebrating 30 years of friendship. And let's not forget the events that bring us together. Council backed many sporting events, shows, celebrations and cultural events with more than $1.6 million in funding flowing to the local community in the past financial year. Our signature festival programs offer hundreds of events across the city, providing opportunities for our community to celebrate our unique culture together. And finally, our commitment to the environment has remained strong. We signed our first voluntary conservation covenant, rolled out in a new citywide green bin service, boosted our commitment to green energy, and cleared more than 80 tonnes of invasive weed from Springfield lakes, restoring vital waterways. In wrapping up, I'd like to thank my fellow colleagues, councillors, the CEO and your dedicated staff, whose hard work often happens, I should say often, always usually happens behind the scenes. Thank you for your commitment to serving our city with passion and care and kindness. Every milestone we have reached this year has been shaped by the voices and ideas of our community. Together we all play a vital role in shaping Ipswich's next chapter, which I believe is a bright future filled with opportunity and pride. Merry Christmas to you all. I now move on to item 11, declarations of interest in the matters on the agenda. I have not received any declarations. Are there any declarations of interest? No. We now move on to item 12, which is the confirmation of minutes. Are there any queries on the minutes? I will move them. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Martin. So, but before us, the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 27th of November be confirmed. Any errors, omissions, corrections? No, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's unanimous and carried. Next item 13 is a mayoral minute, and I have a mayoral minute on the for a new waste and circular economy transformation policy directive. And that mayoral minute is that the council develops a new waste and circular economy transformation policy directive, noting the significant progress made in the past 5 years, including recent legislation change and the recommendations of the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry. As a mayoral minute's moved and seconded, and I'll speak to it. On the 3rd of December 2020, Council endorsed the Waste and Circular Economy Transformation Policy Directive as its strategic approach to managing and influencing systemic change across waste, resource recovery and recycling. For a decade, residents had been enduring the negative impacts of the waste industry, using Ipswich as its dumping ground. Their concerns about odour issues, health impacts and lack of enforcement have been left unresolved for years. While the regulation and compliance of the waste industry is a responsibility of the Queensland Government, our council made it a priority to push for better waste outcomes on behalf of our residents. Over the past 5 years, I'm proud to say that council and the community have been at the forefront of significant changes in this space. We've shaped and strengthened new legislation to compel organic composters to enclose their operations. We've pushed for increased air monitoring and stronger court enforcement against non-compliant waste companies. We've witnessed the permanent closure of Cleanaway's New Chum facility, the source of the 2022 odour that blanketed several Ipswich suburbs. We've won in court against the expansion and introduction of new landfill sites in Ipswich. And most recently, we lobbied for residents to have some peace of mind through the delivery of the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry, of which all recommendations have been accepted and will be actioned by the Queensland Government. Council has also stepped up its responsibility in ensuring we are managing our municipal waste in the most sustainable and effective way possible. We've returned glass to our recycling bins, introduced a citywide green bin, and we continue to upgrade our waste infrastructure and are jointly committed to building a material recovery facility with Logan and Redland City Councils to ensure the environmental and financial benefits of recycling stay within our councils and not the waste industry. We've come a long way in 5 years, but we know that there is far more work to be done on behalf of our community. Today I'm proposing that Council develop the next iteration of our Waste and Circular Economy Transformation Policy Directive. I'm exceptionally proud of what our council and community have been able to achieve up to date and hope to be able to build on this momentum on behalf of our residents. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak to it? Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to highlight the significant success from Ipswich City Council's Waste and Circular Economy Transformation Directive, as you mentioned, first adopted in 2020 after I put forward a notice of motion for council to create this strategy for tackling waste in our city. For many years, the people of Ipswich were forced to endure, some would argue, the consequences of an under-regulated, poorly monitored and highly concentrated private waste industry. This council committed to changing that, and the results are now showing for our residents who had been impacted for many years. Since the adoption of the directive, Ipswich has seen the most sustained period of regulatory and legal action against non-compliant waste operators in our city's history. Working together with the Queensland Government, the Department of Environment and Science, and our community and the waste operators, we have driven a wholesale cultural shift in industry accountability. In 2021, we saw early enforcement against some operators for odour impacts on nearby suburbs. In the years that followed, regulators escalated their response, launching comprehensive investigations into odour, dust, amenity and environmental breaches across the Swanbank and New Chum industrial precincts. That work intensified through 2023 and 24 and included contested court proceedings, restraint order applications and on-site compliance interventions. Crucially, in late 2024, the state secured one of the most significant enforcement outcomes this region has ever seen, with a major waste operator ordered to pay a landmark penalty for environmental offences. This has sent a strong message. In Ipswich, the era of unchecked impacts from waste is over. And in 2025, a full public health inquiry was established to examine the cumulative impacts of Swanbank odour on our residents. Its findings, delivered only months ago, have already driven tighter controls and strengthened the compliance burden on the industry. These outcomes would not have happened without Council's directive, advocacy and leadership. We've also taken decisive action through our own planning scheme and operational levers. When ongoing odour issues persisted from organics in and around the Swanbank area, this council acted, driving the transition away from outdated and processing techniques and facilities by operators, and securing new contracts with stricter performance requirements, incorporating best practice standards. We adjusted our organic strategy to protect our residents and ensure a safe, responsible rollout of future services. This is compliance by design embedded into our procurement, our contracts and our service delivery. Together, these legal, regulatory and operational outcomes reflect the very heart of the Waste and Circular Economy Transformation Directive to enforce stronger standards, protect residential amenity and deliver a cleaner, fairer, more sustainable Ipswich. There is more work to do, but since 2020, this directive has fundamentally changed the trajectory of waste management in Ipswich, something I personally am extremely proud of. For the first time in decades, our community is seeing real enforcement, real progress, and a clear shift towards a circular economy that puts people, not private operators, first. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor, for your leadership in getting that work underway. Councillor Tinelli?
Yes, I'd like to move a procedural motion that the matter be deferred and referred to a future workshop for further consideration.
Well, as the mover and seconder, I'll say no. So if you want to put a motion forward.
I just did.
Okay, you want to put a motion forward? Could you just read out the motion for?
That the matter be deferred and referred to a future workshop for further consideration.
Thank you. And do you have a seconder? Okay, Councillor Madden. Do you wish to speak to why the amendment?
Yeah, just briefly, Mayor. Look, admittedly, this is a detailed and complex matter for which all we've received is your mayoral minute and a recommendation. There's no detail, no documentation or information included other than the words spoken by yourself and Councillor Doyle. And there's certainly been no officer input into this matter, which is rather concerning, and certainly it's not the basis of good governance or good decision-making, if I might say. And I'd rather than making decisions on the run or policy on the run, I would rather see something like this discussed within a workshop or briefing session for us to fully understand the complex nature of what we're asking for, and also considering the current status of what we have, if this is to be a new policy, what those improvements are, and what the implications of the Swanbank Health inquiry may be in relation to that. I just feel that having a simple recommendation without information is hardly the reason or purpose for good decision making.
Thank you. Councillor Madden, do you wish to speak to?
Just briefly, Mayor. You know, I have one page in my agenda just with the mayoral minute. I've looked at my diary. First I heard about this was today. No, and that's not a criticism. I think the motion is very worthy, the mayoral minute is very worthy, but there are aspects to it that I think require further consideration, particularly, policy directive. I don't intend to ask council officers any questions today, but that's just an example of something I'm unfamiliar with, policy directive, and I'd like in a workshop to be able to discuss exactly what that means. Sure. But following on from what Councillor Doyle said, and clearly she had warning of this motion, that minute that I didn't have.
Point of order, Mayor. Just for the record, I did not have.
No, I didn't forewarn any councillor. No. I'm very fair. And
that being the case, I credit Councillor Doyle for being able to write such a long presentation in such a short time.
It was published last week.
Yeah. Well, look, Mayor, getting off that point, I think this is worthy of consideration, but as I said, I've only just got the one page in my agenda, and I'd like to discuss it at a workshop.
Thank you. If I could speak to the matter, and I take on the points that you've raised. The mayoral minute was published to councillors, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday, so they have known for a week. I do note that the recommendation is that council develops a new waste and circular economy policy transformation directive. That, by its very nature, means there'll be briefings and workshops and discussions. So I think that what you're putting forward today is something that's already covered. It says council develops, so it means that we're going to be developing a new one. But I guess are you looking at the fact that we may not need a new directive, we would do something else. So I think that the current mayoral minute, as it stands, encompasses the fact that that obviously the council with a capital C, so it's up to us as a council, as councillors, to decide what that is. So I think you're just itemising something that's going to happen automatically as part of this. When we did it last time, we had many briefings and workshops. We had experts come and brief us from CSIRO, from the waste industry, from community groups, and I would expect that we'd do something similar. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Mayor. I just exactly what you had said. Certainly my expectation around the word develop would incorporate briefings, workshops, discussions, noting certainly this term of council, we've had our scorecard, we've had updates on how we're tracking in the existing directive, whether or not we need a new one or we continue with assessing against the existing one. I'm open to all suggestions, but it's my expectation there would be briefings and workshops as we did last term. So
I think we do with everything.
Yeah.
Open for the discussion. Yes, Councillor Manson.
I kind of don't really have a preferred path forward, but the wording of the motion did actually grate a bit on me when I first read it, because it immediately goes to the point that we need to develop a new one. I thought it would probably be more constructive to actually discuss the matter and actually see whether updating is required, like as in go through all of the points and see which ones are still relevant, identify if there's any new ones that are relevant. And the other aspect too, which I'm sure some people may not agree, I've always found the name quite cumbersome. I don't actually have any real way of understanding why it's a policy directive and it's not a strategy. We don't actually have policy directives anywhere else. The only place I've ever heard of policy directives, this will make Councillor Tully chuckle no doubt, is literally Stalinist Russia. It's the way that Stalin laid out rules through his Politburo. So it always quite grates on me. I'm like, why do we have a directive about this? Like, this is very a bit different. But just like speaking through that, I just don't really know the best path forward, because I take on principle what Councillor Antonelli is suggesting is it's probably better to discuss about it before we give the organisation a direction that we're doing something. So I would have preferred if we're in a position where we had more clarity about what exactly we're doing and what we are trying to achieve, which isn't really there in the meeting agenda this morning. It's a motion that says some words but doesn't really capture the task ahead of us and what are we trying to achieve. A lot of the times there's pressure applied in the chamber that we need to get a report before we commit to doing anything. So this one says to sort of do it, and then we'll do that on the back end. So if there's a change in accepted practice amongst us as a cohort, I'm okay with that. I think we just need to speak through these sorts of things to, gain an understanding of how this will be administered.
I see that Councillor Taylor, I'll just respond to a couple of things that Councillor Mann said, if that's okay. I'll have to check, I don't have my computer with me, but we received a status update from the organisation. I think it was even a council paper on this policy directive. And I go to your comments. It is a very cumbersome. It's not an acronym. It is a cumbersome title, but I think we were acting on advice because we had a very old planning scheme. So we were looking for something that the organisation could use in conjunction with the planning scheme. So I think that's why the naming happened. But yeah, I very much take on board what you said. Councillor Tully.
Yeah, Mayor, there might be a way forward, and you have a procedural motion here, but I was going to foreshadow an amendment, and it's twofold. It's to change one word in the first paragraph, and I'm not moving at this stage because it's just foreshadow. So instead of develops, put the word consider there, and then to add a paragraph B that councillor briefings and stroke workshops be held as part of the consideration of a new policy.
Okay. I note that that's a foreshadowed motion, so that will only be considered if the one we're discussing right now is voted down, and then that one would be considered.
Alternatively, if the proposer of that foreshadowed motion withdraws, that might be
I was actually going to lean towards the same thing, if I may, Mayor. Now, obviously, we have had this...
Sorry, Councillor Antonelli. Mayor, I've had... Who's ringing? Oh.
Excuse me, I'm the chair, and I'm sorry I didn't see you, so it's not. Please don't have a go at Councillor Antonelli. I didn't see it. I was looking around. That's my fault. So please note, I guess we're going to Councillor because you were the mover of the amendment. The other thing I could say that with what Councillor Tully has put forward as the mayoral minute, I'm happy to amend my mayoral minute to incorporate, if that's okay.
Yeah, well,
but before I do anything, I'll
again,
go
yes,
to...
I was addressing that, and I do apologise.
You don't need to. It's on
but
me.
I'm happy to accede to Councillor Augustine to speak if she wishes.
Okay, Councillor Augustine.
Can that? No. Can we go up to the first one? Yeah. As the recommendation states there, I'm in two minds. Not in two minds, but in the first bit. I understand that we want to develop or we consider, but I've got issues with the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry. I've got questions further in because there's an item further on. Just to adopt the recommendations, I think I've got questions of the Minister before we adopt that. So for me, I couldn't vote for the way it's standing there if it's got the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry in it as well.
Thank you. So if I just, the fact that it's my mayoral minute, and I'm happy to accept the changes that Councillor Tully has put forward as a foreshadowed motion. I'll just check with you, Anthony. Councillor Tully,
I'm
okay
happy to withdraw,
that?
but if I may make the suggestion that the word review, the existing policy, be utilised rather than just the consideration of a new, because when we review it, we're obviously looking at the way forward as well, but I'm happy to...
Semantics, consider, review.
Well...
I think consider.
So yeah, that's the reason why. That's the reason why I'm leaving it open.
Yeah. So I think
But in principle, I'm happy to withdraw the procedural motion in favour of the amendment that's been suggested. Thank you.
So we've got here that we'll change the word develops to consider, that council will consider. Yes. That's A, and then B.
I'll have to read that.
Yep.
This is the B, that councillor briefings stroke workshops be held as part of the consideration of a new policy.
I'm happy to accept that, so that's the live motion. If I could just go to the matter that Councillor Augustine has spoken about, the public health inquiry that's going to come up. I do note the recommendation just say noting the significant progress, including the recent legislation change and the recommendations. So I don't know what the matters are.
I don't think that makes a difference in many respects, Mayor.
No worries.
I think it reads still fine. Just consider it of all.
Oh, well, you've
Councillor
accepted
Tully?
it, so that becomes the motion.
Yep, it is. That's the live motion that's before
Yeah,
us
thank
today. Councillor Madsen.
I was in pains about whether or not to mention this. The Waste and Circular Economy Transformation Policy Directive isn't a policy of councils. It's actually more of a strategic document. So perhaps it's better in Part B for that to say consideration of a new strategy, because we're not actually seeking to adopt a policy for the council,
I did see when we said
which
the
is
word
a
policy.
statutory term.
I guess you're looking for in item B, that last word, Councillor Tully, do you want to change the word policy
Could it be
to?
policy/strategy? Just to keep all the discussions open as to how we proceed.
Are we considering a new policy
I'll make
though?
that. I guess we'll decide that yeah, and note the discussion. I'll open it for any other discussion. I know that Councillor Doyle's not here, but I guess in that case, Councillor Tully, so did you wish to, you've got your microphone on?
Oh, no. I'm happy with that. I just have one question. It might be just a semantic point. What's the difference between a policy and a policy directive? I haven't seen that word used. Councillor Madsen mentioned that. Like, is it?
I'd have to defer to.
Oh well, I know it had a foreign interpretation, but
I'm not usually referred to like as a communist, but anyway.
Would it be just a policy, or is it just a policy? What is a policy?
I'd have to go back to see what the advice was back then, but my understanding was it was mainly around the planning scheme, and then the organisation needed something a little bit stronger. I can't remember off the top of my head. I apologise for that.
Yeah, the discussions and bringing this back for a final, after the discussions and workshops and so on, we'll resolve that issue.
I'm sure we'll find a more elegant way to describe it. Councillor Antilli, did you wish to make another comment?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say thank you, Mayor, for that amendment, because just in light of the fact that there was no supportive information at all and we were left with just a recommendation, I couldn't, not saying I didn't support such an important initiative or support the idea behind it. It's just that I couldn't give a decision either way, whether to support it with or without the information as it stood. So I thank you for the amendment. I think that's more open-ended and collaborative.
No, I take that message on board. Thank you. In that case, I won't have a message in reply. I'll go straight to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. That's all councillors except for Councillor Augustine. Those against, Councillor Augustine. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the discussion today. We now go to item which is 14, business outstanding, and we have a matter outstanding which is 14.1, a response to a notice of motion to upgrade the Ipswich Netball Association canteen, and we have before us a recommendation from council for the council to provide funding contribution of $50,000 to the upgrade of the Limestone Park netball facility, the Ipswich Netball Association canteen. May I just ask the council officer a couple of questions? I'm wanting to know where the money's coming from. Not against the motion, but just wanting to know where it's coming from.
Good morning, Mayor and Councillors. Ben Pole, General Manager, Community, Cultural and Economic Development.
Thank you. Thank you for finding $50,000 in the budget. Just want to know where has it come from? Is there another club is going to miss out on that $50,000, or how have we been able to find that money?
No, it's not being specifically reallocated from another project. Our aim is to achieve some savings within that capital program and fund it that way.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions of Mr. Pole. No one else? Thank you, Mr. Pole. Thank you. Well, I assume, Councillor Madsen, that you'll be the mover of this. And the second, I think, Councillor Doyle. I'll move to you, Councillor Madsen, to speak to it.
I just thank the officers for the turnaround of the report. I'm sure it'll make a tremendous difference to Ipswich Netball, and once again I'd like to congratulate them for the significant funds that they've raised to upgrade their facility. Not many sporting associations in Ipswich have managed to operate with such, financial success. So I commend them on that, and I thank the councillors for their support of the notice of motion at the last council meeting, because, again, still think it's a great sort of thing to get behind and provide support, and looking forward to seeing the new canteen open. I think it'll be a substantial improvement and will make a big difference in servicing the crowds that at times I actually find them a bit terrifying when you drive past netball on Saturday and you just see the sheer volume of people. It's to me, it still remains to be a spectacle. It amazes me every time I see it. So I can't believe the efforts behind the scenes that the canteen must put in to feed thousands of people every Saturday.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Doyle, you wish to speak to as a seconder?
Thank you, Mayor. Just concur with Councillor Madson's comments and congratulate also Ipswich Netball on their financial sustainability and independence. They certainly are very, very hardworking, very coordinated and very experienced in producing these carnivals on a wide scale. So absolutely supportive of this initiative.
Thank you, Councillor Antonelli.
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate the comments of the Chair and my fellow Councillor Doyle. At the end of the day, every Saturday there is as big as a carnival at Ipswich Netball, and having volunteered there many years working the chip machine, I know the challenges that current canteen faces. So looking forward to seeing the new and improved canteen facilities that are going to happen there shortly. And again, congratulate the association on being so professionally run. And as I have said before, they are the benchmark in many respects for other associations and sports to follow in the way they manage their sport and raise their funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin.
Yeah, I'd like to concur with my fellow councillors. Councillor Madsen and I had a tour, I think it was during a state carnival, Mayor, and saw the pretty primitive conditions. And I really applaud Netball Association for actually having the wherewithal to raise their own funds as well. And I really support the idea of council giving a hand up rather than a handout. So I think it's really good, and I would certainly endorse that for all other sporting organisations and other clubs and whatnot that are putting their hand up for council money. Co-contribution certainly goes a long way in helping us be better, I guess, able to support claims and better able to resource things. So I really thank the council officers for supporting the recommendation, and certainly applaud once again Ipswich Netball. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's been a great partnership. I think it was either in 2020, 2021, I think council and the state government worked together with them. I think we contributed about $800,000, $900,000 towards the new change rooms there. And we've also got a lot of work in our council capital works program for the netball facilities, courts, and adding new shelters in the 26-27 off season as well. So I think it's been a great partnership. Any other comments? No. Councillor Mazza, do you wish to say anything in reply before we vote?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. I'll go on to the next matter, which is item 15, the reception and consideration of committee reports. Item 15.1 is the report of the Infrastructure Planning and Assets Committee of the 2nd of December. Councillor Anthony, as the chair of that, I'll hand over to you to see how you'd like to manage that report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the Infrastructure Planning and Assets Committee of 2025, number 11, of the 2nd of December 2025 for reception and adoption.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Tully. Councillor Daly, do you wish to speak to it?
If I may, thank you, Mayor. It's it was a very thin agenda for that committee this time. In fact, it was very ably and efficiently run in my personal absence by the Deputy Chair, Councillor Paul Tully, and I thank him very much for taking on that role while I couldn't be present in the room, although present online. Thank you very much, Paul. It was very short, and I thank you. I learnt quite a lot in your efficient process. If I may also, just very briefly, in relation to item 2, I'd like to take this opportunity with respect to the Asset and Infrastructure Services Capital Delivery Report. Just commend the efforts of our, appointed earlier this year, our General Manager of that department, Miss Mackenzie, Sarah Mackenzie, for undertaking the new role, and came here at a very, very, I wouldn't say turbulent time, but certainly there was turbulence coming in the form of the ex-tropical cyclone Alfred, and her knowledge, having come from North Queensland, was invaluable during that period. but I would like to commend her department, and as you can see in the capital delivery report, the outcomes there, they are under budget and well on schedule. So I thank her and recognise her for her efforts. I'd also like to take this opportunity to wish Seren, her team, all the members of her department, as well as Brett Davey and his department and staff, a very Merry Christmas. But I also take the opportunity to wish and thank all of the councillors for their efforts this year and wish them all a very Merry Christmas. As well as those people watching us today, the people of Ipswich, let's hope that it is a happy and holy time for all with your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Councillor Tully, as a second, do you wish to speak to the report?
Oh, no, thanks, Amy.
Thank you. I'll speak to the report, and also item 2. I'd like to commend the department for 4 consecutive months of above baseline delivery, showing strong momentum as we end 2025. I want to highlight stage 2 of the Springfield Parkway project, which has continued to make strong progress despite several heavy rainfall events in October. Key milestones include completion of Energex relocations, approval for communication works and progress on the Bridgewater Road roundabout retaining wall. Stormwater and earthworks are advancing, fencing and landscaping have started early to save costs, and the water main relocations are underway. So due to the fast and expected progress and some unavoidable service relocations, a request has been made to bring forward part of the 26-27 budget to help maintain that momentum and avoid delays, which I think is a good thing. I'll open up for other discussion. There being other discussion, there was no one speaking against. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to say anything in reply? I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's unanimous and carried. I know it's 2 minutes past 10, so I move that we adjourn till 10:32. Do I have a second? Councillor Taylor seconding that. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Everyone, thank you very much. See you back at 10:32. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back to the Council Ordinary Meeting of the 11th of December. It's 10:32 after a 30-minute adjournment. We are now on to item 15.2, the Finance and Governance Committee, and I'll hand over to the relevant Council Chair, Councillor Tully, to see how we'd like this matter
Thank you,
managed.
Mayor. I'll move that the Finance and Governance Committee number 2025-11 report be received and the recommendations contained therein be adopted.
Thank you. I have a second. We have Councillor Tully, seconder. Thank you. Councillor Tully, do you wish to speak to the...
Yeah, just one item, Mayor. It's item 3 on page 74, which is the lease renewal over the land at 1 Mill Street, Rosewood, commonly known as the Rosewood Pool. That's a recommendation that Australian Crawl Goodner Proprietary Limited, which manages a number of the pools around the city, that we renew the lease for a period of 10 years, subject to a management fee and the finalisation of the lease take place by the Chief Executive Officer for a term of 10 years with no options for extension. So that's a recommendation from the committee which I support. And just in conclusion, I'd like to thank the members of the committee this year for the pretty well general cooperation that we've had. You know, a lot of big spending items there, and the staff that have been reporting to us, you know, each month. It's been an opportunity to review a whole range of issues within the council area. So I thank the staff and councillors for the cooperation. I think any of the chairs here knows what it's like, you know, we see it with amendments and changes and foreshadowed motions and reports and moving into committee. It can be a challenging situation as a chair, but thank everyone for the support that I've been given too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tully. Councillor Antonelli is the seconder. Do you wish to speak to the report? Thank you. If I may just raise, I guess, with item 2 and 3, one is the Public Interest Disclosure Policy Review. And this policy is to set the framework for how Council manages public interest disclosures in line with the Public Interest Disclosure Act. Following consultation, several amendments have been made, including involving councillors at the councillor briefing session last month for that particular one. It's important that transparency has been improved, as any member of the public or council officers can use Council's website to make a disclosure, and both the procedure and policy are available on Council's website. And those 2 updates are a critical step in demonstrating that Ipswich has learnt from the past. So by strengthening the public interest disclosure framework, we're showing the community and regulators that we're serious about transparency, compliance, and preventing misconduct from ever taking root again. Item 3, which is on the pool at Rosewood. I do note that we had a few come forward, I think last month, where the tenants there are paying us money, but for the one at Rosewood, well, we're paying them $84,000 a year. I'm guessing that's to do with, and I wasn't here for the committee meeting, but I'm guessing it's to do with the visitor numbers and the costs there. So I guess I'm keen to look at that a bit more reasonably. And also note item 6, the procurement there. The report indicates that Council will create at least 15 opportunities for trainees or apprentices per year, which supports local employment and also helps Council build a skilled workforce that reflects the need of our city. So I think it's a tremendous option going forward. And while Council routinely hires trainees or apprentices, engaging a group training organisation will help streamline this process for our Council. I'll open up for other discussion. None. Councillor Tully, do you wish to write a reply?
Yeah, just briefly in relation to item 2 in particular, the public interest disclosure policy review. That's something that we're required to do periodically, and that's an opportunity. It can be a vexed area if you read around Queensland in councils and state government, people who qualify is probably the correct word to use for any disclosures and to be protected in their employment. In the situations which arise in local government, that can be very important. But I'm sure that this revised policy will ensure that public interest disclosures will continue to be made and the protections afforded under legislation will continue. Thank you.
Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. We move on to item 15.3, the report of the Community and Sport Committee of the 2nd December 2025. Councillor Madsen, as the Chair, how would you like that report managed?
As per the meeting agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Augustine. Any comments or discussion?
No comments today, Mayor. We had no items due to the quick turnaround between the November and December meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christmas messages are optional.
Would you like to make it? Councillor says a seconder. Do you wish to make any comments? I'll open up for anyone. Do you wish to make any closing Christmas messages in your right of reply?
If we're going to do that today, sure. Several times in the last fortnight, I've been called the Grinch. I'd just like to reiterate to everyone in the room that the Grinch is actually a hero of a story and drives significant cultural reform in Whoville. He gets people to throw away their sort of consumerist focus on Christmas. So I'd remind everyone in the room to focus on their loved ones and their friends, and remember that the Community and Sport Committee is the best committee.
Thank you. With that, we go to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's unanimous and carried. We now move on to item 15.4, the report of the Economic and Cultural Development Committee of the 2nd of December 2025. And I'll hand over to the chair of that committee, Councillor Wilson, to see how she'd like this report managed.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the whole of the report of the Economic and Cultural Development Committee 2025.
Do you have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Do you wish to speak to the report?
I wasn't actually finished, but that's okay.
My apologies, sorry.
I will speak to couple of items. Item 2, the arts and cultural vision. I think this, as I said in the committee, this is actually a really strong vision for our creatives in our city. It's bringing back stakeholders together, and it confirms that art and culture is essential to our thriving community. I want to really thank the staff who put this vision together. They've been working on it for quite a while, and I think it's a really fantastic work by everyone that contributed to this particular document. Item 3, the team attraction. If you've read it, well, when I read it, I really enjoyed reading it. I think Ipswich just jumped off the page to you when you read it. So I think other people reading it, they will feel that as well. So I have no doubt that we're going to be a choice for training venues as we head closer and closer to the Olympic and the Paralympics. But I did flag that with this and also team attraction, we would be looking at extra budget, I think, as we go forward, to be able to attract teams and countries here to Ipswich. Item 4, I thank Councillor Doyle for bringing this motion to us because it's actually a very important motion in our city. Actually, yesterday, I must admit, I was at a couple of different events, and at those events, there were conversations about the synthetic track, so people have got a real interest in this motion. So I thank Councillor Doyle for that. We also had a couple of sponsorship deals come through, and I think all of them are really important to our city. One in particular I wanted to highlight is the Eastern Rumble Pro sponsorship. That's the skateboarding. As I said at the committee, we've got a real good chance of creating something robust here in Ipswich. Redbank Plains is well known for skating throughout Queensland, so skateboarding throughout Queensland. So I think that is a real opportunity for us. So that's it for me, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Apologies for cutting off there, Councillor Augustine. Didn't realise. Sorry.
All good.
Councillor Doyle, as a seconder, do you wish to
yes,
make any comments?
thank you, Mayor. Firstly, I'd like to thank the chair of this committee, Councillor Augustine. Another amazing year. This is only your first year on council, and you've been working extremely hard, and it doesn't go unnoticed both within the organisation and outside in the community. So thank you for your leadership and your tenacity. Just briefly on the synthetic athletics track, I see this as a group piece of work. This current council, we all know that Ipswich absolutely needs a synthetic track. we have differing opinions on where that may end up, and that is okay. I would like to particularly thank Mr Don Stewart for his work thus far in responding to the notice of motion. Outstanding and thorough piece of work. We're actually at Limestone Park yesterday meeting with Ipswich Little Athletics and Ipswich District Athletics, discussing ongoing challenges around sprinklers, water, and the way he and his staff respond to those challenges that we're dealing with in the interim as we decide where a track might go. So I commend the staff and thank you. Generally, I just wanted to call out within this portfolio the amazing team within the community development area. And I hate calling out one particular department because they are all amazing. But this year, as we know, has been particularly challenging within our community with, pressures on everyone's economic, the economic pressures that are on our community, as well as homelessness. And the response by the community development team, I see them as the heart of what we do here at Council, delivering for community groups, supporting our supporting groups, whether it's processing grant applications or our staff working directly with the Department of Housing, trying to find solutions for those residents of ours that come to us for help that may not have a place to call home. So it's such an important piece of work. So I want to say a big thank you to that staff. And of course, we all love our festivals and our events. So another stellar year by our events team. So thank you to Carly and the team. Through adversity, challenges, our residents always want to step out, and it's important for families to have something to look forward to. So the activations have been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to speak to the report on a number of matters. Item 2 with the Ipswich Arts and Cultural Vision, which is our Creative Future 2025-2035. I think that this framework sets out a vision for our city to become a nationally recognised creative city. It builds on our identity as a place of makers, storytellers and cultural achievers. We're quite fortunate, Council has the Ipswich Art Gallery, the Ipswich Civic Centre, Studio 188, Fire Station 101, the Community Art Gallery and so many other assets, and the strategy recognised arts and culture as an essential part of our identity, and I think especially as we go through unprecedented growth. Extensive consultation has gone into the vision with community workshops, our youth and Youth Advisory Council, the First Nations focus groups, open forums at the Creator Summit, as well as the targeted sessions with the Ipswich Arts Advisory Group, and over 145 survey responses. The feedback consistently highlighted the strength of grassroots volunteer-led arts and the importance of accessible family programming. I'd like to see this framework in place to drive the economic impact from our creative industries, as well as providing a strong base for external funding opportunities. We must position ourselves to not only as a cultural leader, but as a city that harnesses creativity to fuel economic growth and community pride with a view to create a lasting legacy for generations to come. If I speak to item 3, which is the team attraction brochure and the Olympic and Paralympic training. Sport in Ipswich runs deep, from its grassroots clubs to world champions. It's about pride and community, and I think that shines through in this team attraction brochure. This brochure has been developed from a comprehensive audit of public and private sporting facilities to showcase our readiness as a pre-games training hub. It highlights world-class infrastructure such as the Brighton Homes Arena, a confirmed Olympic venue, and the Redbank Plains Skate Park, alongside a growing network of high-performance training centres and multi-sport precincts. These assets position Ipswich as a compelling destination for both national and international teams. Lessons from Paris 2024 show the value of quieter training bases that were outside of a capital, and Ipswich offers exactly that, a focus away from the hustle and bustle of neighbouring host cities. I also note that this document is a living document and will be consistently amended as opportunities arise. So I do encourage the community and the business community and sporting groups to continue to raise these with council and councillors. We are investing in world-class facilities, athlete accommodation and legacy programs to position ourselves as the training base of choice for teams preparing for Brisbane 2032. And lastly, on item 4, the Ipswich Synthetic Athletics track update. Ipswich is on the front foot preparing for growth and ensuring our community has access to world-class sporting facilities. A synthetic athletics track would position our city to leverage additional opportunities from the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games, as well as create economic and cultural benefits for Ipswich. This update on our progress towards delivering a synthetic athletics track for Ipswich by setting out evidence-based steps to identify the most viable location with Bill Patterson Oval and other shortlisted sites under detailed feasibility assessment at the moment. I'll open up for any other commentary and discussion. Councillor Antonelli.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak to item 2, the Ipswich Arts and Cultural Vision. Our creative future. Well, look, Mayor, Ipswich has a proud history in the arts, all forms of art. But I would like to highlight something that's happened in the recent week in relation to our arts community. And some may recall that Switch Up Productions produced Jekyll and Hyde this year, and they've won a number of awards with respect to that particular performance. They received 15 nominations in the Gold Palm Theatre Awards, which is basically, I guess, a very prized award in South East Queensland for theatre productions. They received 15 productions. They were finalists in 12 of those categories, and they have actually scooped the pool in that they took 10 of those 12 awards that they were nominated in, a finalist in, including Production of the Year for Outstanding Community Theatre Musical, Best Musical Director, Best Choreographer, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Actress in a Leading Role, Best Actor in Supporting Role, Best Magic Moment of Theatre, Best Set Design, Best Sound Design and Operation, and also Best Program. So I'd like to take this opportunity to recognise the efforts of Switch Up Productions. They are one of many theatre companies we have here in Ipswich, but to see them recognised for what was a wonderful production of Jekyll and Hyde this year. So if I could just congratulate Adrian Carr and the team at Switch Up Productions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think Tim Wynn is a phenomenal talent that we have in our city. So thank you very much for highlighting that. Councillor Tully.
Yeah, just a proposed amendment, Mayor, on item 8 on page 88 of 117. It's just one word. I'd emailed the Manager of Executive Services, Wade Wilson, yesterday, and he came back to me at 9:18 this morning. If you look at item 8, paragraph A in the third line, it reads towards the end of that third line, over $15,001 and over, endorsed by council. He's advised that because it requires a council decision that should be approved by council rather than endorsed. Okay. So I'll propose that, but
so that's in recommendation.
For the mover and seconder, well then I won't need a seconder to.
That's just recommendation A, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
So
A, the third line, to change endorsed to approved.
Approved, and
which matches closer to the policy.
Yeah, and obviously that was a recommendation from the Manager of Executive Services.
Yes, he says yes under the
with
policy.
The CEO.
It requires a.
Absolutely correct, Mayor, through you as Chair.
He says it requires a council resolution, so approved is correct.
Okay, not a problem, we'll do that. Thank you very much for your eagle eyes. Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, so I'll go to you, Councillor Gazette, as the right of reply.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give a Christmas message. Councillor Madsen, I know your committee is the best committee. I'll say, well, he's preaching to us. So I've always said my committee, with Councillor Doyle as well, it's the fun committee. I don't know what yours is, Councillor Tully, but no, I'm going to put that tag on. But as we celebrate the festive season, I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone for their incredible sense of community and throughout the year, to be honest. Christmas is a time of joy, reflection, and togetherness that reminds us of the strength we find in diversity and unity. Our community is rich in culture, and this year we've celebrated so many traditions from Diwali, the Onam festivals, the Lunar New Year, and also my favourite, which is Christmas. These moments show that while our backgrounds may differ, our values of kindness, respect and inclusion definitely unites us. So I'd like to say to all the families, friends, neighbours, thank you for your support, your spirit, your commitment in making our city a welcoming place for all. May this Christmas bring peace, happiness and hope to your homes, and may the new year be filled with opportunities to connect, celebrate and grow together. To the CEO, ELT and also all the council officers, I say a heartfelt thank you for, in particular, as a councillor, being there and for me and, you know, helping me become a better councillor. Also want to thank the dedication shown by our officers to our community. So thank you to all of them. I'd like to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all my fellow councillors and also the Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to item 15.5, the report of the Environment and Sustainability Committee of the 2nd of December 2025. I'll hand over to the chair of that committee to see how we'd like this report managed.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council adopt recommendations of items 1, 2 and 3 of the Environment and Sustainability Committee number 2025-11 of 2 December 2025. And Mayor, I'll deal with item 4 separately.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Madden, the floor is yours.
No, I've nothing to say about the report today.
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you.
Sorry.
Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to those?
No, thank you.
I just wish to speak to probably item 3, which is the City of Ipswich Local Disaster Management Plan. It's a 2025 administrative update, and as the newly reinstated chair of the Local Disaster Management Group, I want to acknowledge the importance of this annual review of our local disaster management plan. This year's update ensures that the plan remains aligned with legislative requirements under the Disaster Management Act of 2003. The plan continues to provide a strong framework for prevention, preparedness, response and recovery in Ipswich in the event of a natural disaster. Any other discussion? Nothing from you? I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Item 4.
The recommendation. Thanks, Max. I'm happy to move the recommendation, but I understand you may wish to make an amendment to the recommendation, an additional item. So I'd move that the change to the Disaster Management Regulation Report be received and the contents noted as item 1.
Yep.
But I understand you wish to make an amendment. That
I guess just noting that this is just noting a regulation change, but the impact is obviously I'm currently the chair of the Local Disaster and Resilience Group and I can't do the chair of the LDMG in both roles. So I'd like to propose, if I may, through to that that we do appoint, that I step down from the Local Recovery and Resilience Group chair. And I guess could I move that first one just to be recommendation A, recommendation B, as per the email sent out to councillors yesterday, that Councillor Jim Madden is appointed as the Local Recovery and Resilience Group chairperson. You happy to second that? Thank you very much, Councillor Antonelli. Councillor Madden, you're currently the deputy.
Yes, yes.
Do you have any suggestions on who should be the deputy for?
No, I'll leave it to my fellow councillors and yourself to deal with that position.
I'm happy to nominate Councillor Madsen, but I'm open to discussion. But if anyone else wants to, whether he wants to be the deputy Local Recovery Resilience Group chair, would you be open to that?
To know, are any other councillors interested?
I'll open it up. Just so that it's not required under the legislation, but it is under our policy to have a deputy chair. I guess I nominate you, Councillor Mason, because one, you're the deputy chair of the Local Disaster Management Group, so you have an inside knowledge as to what's going on, but also as the chair of sport and community, we know that after a natural disaster, whilst our roads and our bridges usually get up to speed pretty quickly, the long tail is often our sporting fields, our clubhouses and so on. So I thought there might be a nice synergy there. And
yeah, if we could just have a brief discussion. I think there's also merit in potentially either Councillor Tully or Councillor Antonelli noting their committees as well, if that's going to be a justification. Field works and services seems the most sort of relevant to me.
Okay.
So do you have any interest, Councillor Antonelli?
Portfolio, so, but it's up to the councillors to decide.
Would you have any interest, Councillor Tully? Because there's a lot of administrative work aligned with the departments.
Oh, well,
Your committee?
just talked me out.
A lot of Division 2 assets are impact, like the bowls.
Yes and no, if there were two. Can I just clarify where we're at? Because Councillor Madden moved the original paragraph A, but there was no seconder, and then you've proposed an amendment. So
No, I think Councillor Antonelli seconded.
okay, so we've got a proposed amendment to that. Is that correct?
So I move that Councillor Madden is, an amendment, is appointed as the chair of the Local Recovery Resilience Group. And then we're just discussing, we don't have to fill the deputy now, if there's other discussion that needs to happen.
Mayor, I think we're discussing the scope of the amendment. And at
Yes.
this stage, we have one paragraph, but we're missing another paragraph, which would say who is going to be deputy chair of the LRRG.
Okay.
Yep. So in that case, may I ask then, just so because of the way that it's going, we've put recommendation A to the vote, if that's okay with, or just the original motion, which is...
Oh, no, it's not. It's
that the change to the disaster management regulation report be received and the contents noted.
Okay, yeah.
Are we okay, Councillor Madden?
Yeah.
So I'll have the Councillor Madden.
That's it.
Councillor Martin moved and seconded the recommendation A. Any discussion on that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just might take this opportunity to thank my fellow councillors for the opportunity to be the chair of the LDMG for the past almost 2 years. And I just want to say that particular reference to councillors Pi Augustine and Jacob Madsen in their roles as deputy. And I just commend to you, Mayor, the fact that our staff, with respect to local disaster matters and their management of it, are second to none in this state. And I have great confidence that they will continue to ably assist you in that role. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Antonelli. I was checking who moved and seconded. Thank you. As per the email I sent to all council on the 1st of December, I'd just like to table 3 letters that I shared with you then, for transparency, the letters between the Minister for Police Emergency Services, my own letter, and the Assistant Commissioner for Police, to you, Vicky. I move that those 3 letters are tabled. Do I have a seconder for those? Thank you, Councillor Tully. I'll put that.
Just procedurally, where does B get left
We'll
with?
deal with B next.
Okay. That's
So-
a bit unorthodox. But it's
I'm
okay.
doing each recommendation one at a time because people may have different views, if that's okay. So Councillor Tully seconded those 3 letters being tabled. Any discussion? My only discussion is on that I think these changes to the reg are a sensible outcome for Queensland after the disaster management regulations were strengthened by the Queensland Government. This change ensures that the leadership of every local disaster management group across Queensland is placed with the Mayor or the Mayor's nominee, providing clarity and consistency in times when our communities need it most. I want to acknowledge the strong support of our state emergency management agencies, including the Queensland Police Service, the Queensland Reconstruction Authority and the Local Government Association of Queensland, who were consulted and strongly supported these changes. Most importantly, I thank the people of Ipswich for their confidence and unity in calling for disaster leadership to remain focused on protecting lives and keeping our community safe. Any other discussion? I'll put the matter of tabling those 3 letters to be voted on. If I could have a raise of hands. Thank you, it's unanimous and carried, so those 3 letters are tabled. We now go to item A, what is that we're up to? Item A, which is that the change to the disaster management regulations report be received and the contents noted. We've already voted on that. Can I just check that we voted on A? We have. My apologies. My apologies. Item B, that Councillor Jim Madden be appointed as the chairperson of the Local Recovery Resilience Group. Has that been moved and seconded? Okay, I'd like to move that, and a seconder from Councillor Martin. Any discussion? He's been a great deputy in that role. You've been doing the role.
Nothing other than to say I'm happy to accept the appointment.
Thank you.
Mayor. Okay. Just to clear the way.
Thank you. And I know there was some discussion at the committee, and I apologise I wasn't there. Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand.
Apologies, I'd like to
Oh,
speak
you
to
want to
it.
speak to it? Yes.
Yeah, to sort this out rather quickly, I propose an amendment that we add an additional one to this, call it C if you will, that Councillor Jacob Madsen be appointed as the deputy of the LRRG, and Councillor Antonelli does as well, owing that both of those committee portfolios have a great deal of crossover, and it probably makes sense for us to be abreast of issues.
Okay. Councillor Madsen, do you mind just repeating that for the committee clerk?
Well, it's Councillor Jacob Madsen and Councillor Andrew Antonelli be appointed as deputies. Stylistically, I'd put an S in brackets next to the chairperson, but I'll leave it to the room to decide on that.
Chairpersons, thank you. Could I just double check that you're, Councillor Antonelli, are you okay with that nomination? Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to back to who was the original? I think the original mover was Councillor Madden. No, I meant as in of the greater motion. Sorry, I think it was Councillor Madden, then Councillor Antonelli.
No, the motion before us you moved, so it's you and Councillor Martin that would need to accept an amendment if it's not to go to the vote.
Just a point of order.
No, I'm just looking at whether we accept the amendment. I'm just checking
Well, it's
the mover and
proposed as a
second.
motion, like a separate motion rather than it's not stated to be an amendment. So you can't have two motions at the same time.
No, but I'm just looking at, it would be neater if we could deal with B first.
Yeah,
But for...
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just C and then
Yep.
then D. Or B and then...
There's no D.
Oh, sorry, C.
So,
sorry.
sorry, please, I'm the chair. Let me, could I just check with the committee clerk, at the very beginning of this motion, of item 4, who was the original mover and seconder? I thought it was Councillor Madden and Councillor Antonelli. Okay, so they're the overarching for item 4 for that particular one. So I'm just checking with Councillor Madden and Councillor Antonelli that you're okay with the amendment of C. Yes, okay, so that's a lot, okay. Now I'll go back to item B, with Councillor Madden be appointed the chair of the Local Recovery Resilience Group, and we've had discussion. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? It's, carried. So we're now looking at item C. Sorry, D? C? No. I'll just wait till you finish that, so it's clear. Okay, so the motion that's before us, C, is that Councillor Jacob Madsen and Councillor Antonelli be appointed as the deputy chairpersons of the Local Recovery Resilience Group. Do I have a mover for that?
Councillor Madsen moved it, Mayor, and I'm happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor Madsen moved it. Councillor Martin. Any discussion? Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you very much. Done. Okay, that's all matters for. Okay, I think. Are you doing this now or no motion, Councillor Madden?
I'm going to do it now.
Okay, just before you hand over, I think Councillor, the committee chair wants to do his Christmas message.
Yes, as chairman of the Sustainability and Environment Committee, and I'd like to thank my fellow co-councillor for Division 4. I'd like to thank all of my fellow other councillors and Mayor for a wonderful year. I'd also like to thank Karen and Alison, who are our support staff in Division 4. as well as all of the other councillors' officers that I annoy throughout the year trying to get things done. Apologies for the wording, but that's exactly what I'm paid to do. Obviously, I want to thank all the residents of Division 4 as well, but particularly the clubs, community groups and businesses that Councillor Martin and I deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's, the interaction's great. Last night we're at the Tivoli Festival, Christmas Fete, I think they called it. And what was it? Twilight Market, sorry.
Twilight Market.
Glad you corrected me on that. And the Mayor was there as well. And as the Mayor would agree, they're incredibly welcoming of us at that event, as people are at all the events that we attend throughout the year. And I have people say to me, don't you ever get tired, coming along to stuff like this? And my response is always the same, no, I don't get tired. It's an absolute honour to be invited along and treated so well by the people that ask us to speak. So Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy and safe Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Madden. Thank you. We'll now move on to item 15.6, the report of the Audit and Risk Management Committee of the 12th of November. I'm just looking to the two councillors who are on that. Are you happy to move that,
I'll
Deputy
move
Mayor?
that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor, you're happy to second? Thank you, Councillor Antonelli. So do you wish to, any of you wish to speak to the matter?
I'll just note, obviously, there was a lot to go through, asset management, risk management, Evolve program updates and the like, including cyber security, and just wanted to welcome the new committee members. That was their first committee, Kerry Phillips and Melissa Jacobs, and they were offered great new insight to the team, and welcomed, and hopefully they enjoyed the committee. And we are offering, Rob Jones, the chair, is offering, I guess, like snapshots of different layers of the audit and risk in every committee for them, so they get a better understanding of this council. So I just wanted to, thank the chair for that as well.
Thank you very much. Councillor Jelly, the seconder, do you wish to speak to the report?
Yeah, very briefly, just to reiterate what the Deputy Mayor said. And yes, it was the insights of the two new members was quite welcome, and they are very good replacements for the previous members that we had. And yes, I see them being valuable members going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll put the report to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Now going on to item 16.1, which is the delegation summaries of the City of Ipswich delegation to Nerima and the Council of Mayors 2025 Singapore and Europe mission. I will move this report. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. In speaking to this, I want to first apologise for not bringing these reports sooner to you. Every time I went to work on them, something else popped up, so my apologies. I note that the expenditure has been reported in the annual report earlier this year. But I'm genuinely proud to bring forward these two reports. Our delegation to Nerima City wasn't just about marking 30 years of friendship between our cities. It also gave us opportunity to strengthen and renew our relationship into the future. I was blown away by how warmly received we were in Nerima City and the value placed on the enduring relationship between our two cities. They took the opportunity to share knowledge and ideas across a wide range of local government areas. Councillor Doyle and I explored the idea of a future art exchange between the Nerima Art Museum and our Ipswich Art Gallery, giving local residents and artists a chance to experience international culture right here at home. Maybe people may not be aware, but Nerima is the home of anime for Japan, so there's real opportunities there for us. We also discussed the community garden program inspired by Nerima that could help connect our rural and urban suburbs in a new and meaningful ways. There were exciting conversations about sport and legacy, including how Ipswich might develop a Hall of Fame or Legends Walk as part of the North Ipswich Sport and Entertainment Precinct, and how Nerima could assist us in attracting Japanese teams to train here ahead of the Brisbane 2032 Games. In the area where anime was created, they've got a massive, I guess, like a Hall of Fame of different anime characters and showing the history and cultural heritage there as well, which you could see could easily convert to sport here in Ipswich. We even looked at ways to involve student ambassadors, so young people in Ipswich can play a role in building international friendships and showcasing our city to the world. For the first time, Nerima Council actually has a councillor there who was part of the exchange and came out to Ipswich many years ago. And one of the places we went to was an urban, I discussed it in the delegation report, an urban farmer. He came out here on exchange. He went to Redback Plains State High School, and when we visited him, he was very proudly showing us his yearbook from that particular visit and has very fond memories of the family he stayed with and Ipswich. From there, the Council Mayor's delegation gave the mayors a front row seat to how other cities prepare for major events such as the Olympic and Paralympic Games. We also explored how comparable cities manage the challenges and opportunities of population growth. In Singapore, we saw how world-class digital connectivity and water security have been accelerated through strong public-private partnerships. That's directly relevant to Ipswich as we plan for growth and resilience in our own city. In Manchester, the proposed redevelopment of the Old Trafford Stadium district showed us how sport can be a catalyst for urban renewal, lessons we can apply as we continue to develop the North Ipswich Sport and Entertainment Precinct. And in Paris, we examined how local councils work together to maximise the success and legacies of the Paris 2024 Games. In all, there are dozens of findings and recommendations that can be considered both as a growing city and in the regional context. Councillor Doyle, I don't know if you have anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to join you on that visit to Nerima. I concur with your summary, but just want to highlight the two things I was really struck by in spending time with Nerima is their waste management and the social cohesion. There are a lot of learnings to be had from their wonderful community and city there. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll open up other discussion. Yes, Councillor Manson.
I just have a couple of questions, and I support the sort of what benefits are sort of generated for the city by these sorts of things. Just in regard to the ComSec component, is there any reason why the report doesn't list our ComSec membership costs each year, and a sort of explanation that these sort of delegations are offered each year as part of that sort of membership that we hold? Because while not a major deal for me, I think there is sort of an indirect relationship that the benefits we receive by being a member of ComSec is that we have the opportunity to be parts of these delegations. So there's an indirect relationship between the membership fee that we pay each year and these sorts of trips. I just think that that should be included in the cost section.
I've never seen that in a comms, and I guess the same with the Dubai one. It probably won't have it there, but the fact our membership fee that we pay is brought to council and decided on.
It's more so that the membership fee we pay has a, while not a strong direct relationship, it has an indirect and significant relationship to the fact that these trips take place. So there's an association between that expenditure and this benefit that we receive. So I think that for transparency, we should tie that together in some way. I'm not saying that as a challenge. I think it helps actually demonstrate the benefit of the ComSec membership, but it should be noted in my opinion. So I'm asking why that isn't included. Perhaps something it could be.
I don't know, but I can certainly raise that with ComSec.
That would be more so our council report, Mayor.
But I don't know, we don't know what the cost is.
Yeah.
That's done by ComSec.
The council knows the cost of the membership fee we pay to ComSec.
Yeah, that already comes to council each year.
What I'm saying is that it's related to the costs of this report.
Oh, you're saying in the report?
It's one of the benefits we receive of ComSec membership are these delegations. So it's another cost that should possibly, for transparency, be sort of listed because there's a correlation, in my opinion.
Okay. So in the financial resources implications, that's how much.
I think that would be sufficient.
I don't have an issue with that.
It helps actually demonstrate the benefits of the ComSec membership as well.
Mayor, just through you as chair, just to correct or qualify that we did bring the membership fee for ComSec to council in years prior,
yes,
but we haven't kept that going every year. There's been emails circulated typically to say that the next, because of the value being well within my financial delegations, I've been asked, from time to time by elected representatives just to, continue to communicate the value that's derived, but it doesn't just to be point of clarification there, Mayor.
Then I think that what Councillor Madson's raised is probably even more important to put it in there. So I hope,
Happy to do that
so
for
I'm
future
happy, I
reports.
think if we can make sure that we put the membership fee that is paid for that financial year for 24-25.
And just like, it should be explained that it's an indirect relationship, but it is one of the benefits of our ComSec membership.
Yep. Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Next item is 16.2, the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry. And this is a report from the organisation, I guess, tabling this and the recommendations that the report on the Swanbank Public Health Inquiry be received and the contents noted. So I'll move that. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Martin. Thank you. In speaking to this, the inquiry has confirmed what our residents have long told us, that waste odours have caused significant health and psychosocial impacts, including skin irritations, respiratory, ear, nose and throat issues, gastrointestinal discomfort, stress, anxiety, sleep disturbance and reduced quality of life. These findings validate what our community have been experiencing for over a decade now. I'm very relieved that the odours were not toxic and posed no increased risk of cancer. More than 500 submissions from the community were considered, and I was one of those that put that submission in. And we welcome the Queensland Government's acceptance of all 8 recommendations, including stronger regulation, enclosed composting systems, enhanced monitoring and ongoing community engagement. What started as a council resolution of this council in 2022 and sustained advocacy from both council and the community has finally led to this result. Residents across Swanbank, Newchum, Tivoli and beyond raised their voices, lodging more than 27,000 complaints over the years about waste odour impacting their homes. Their persistence ensured that the health impacts of odour emissions could no longer be ignored. The state regulator has seen a 70% reduction in complaints in the past year, the lowest in 7 years. But until there is no waste odour, I urge the community to keep reporting. While this report does not require direct action from Council, we will continue to stand alongside Ipswich residents until the waste industry is held to account to operate lawfully so waste odours are eliminated entirely from our community. Councillor Martin, do you wish to speak to that as the seconder?
I concur with what you say, Mayor. I just would have liked the parameters broadened, like it does say Swanbank, Newchum. Last night, just at Tivoli, for example, often smell out there, and would just like to see that in further recommendations, that be included as well.
If you read the recommendations, it does include...
I did hear that, but just the title of the report, Swanbank, Newchum. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Augustine.
Thanks, Mayor. I would also like to, same as you, acknowledge the long-standing activism of our community advocates. They played a big part in keeping this matter at the forefront. I also would like to thank the advocacy of state members Lance McCullum, Jennifer Howard and former Minister for Environment Leanne Lennard, who stood in solidarity with our community to get the outcomes and start the outcomes that we see now in these recommendations. This report from the government doesn't deliver new laws, funds or infrastructure, which is something that I would like to see. The fact that the complaints have decreased dramatically is a testament to the previous government's actions. The expert review with the retired judge and prosecutor, 2 tranches of tougher laws and the regulation that it is requiring composters to enclose their waste. So it's not this review that created that enclosure recommendation. I also have a couple other questions to do with this report. I do welcome the deadline of composting the facilities, which is September 2026. But my question is, you know, what other sites? Is it all sites, and have they got the same deadline as September 26? The audit and overarching odour management plan are crucial, but when Will the audit be completed, and when will the plan be publicly released with measurable milestones? Expanding monitoring is welcome, but the community deserves to know which sensors will go where and when will they be live and when data will be publicly accessible. Development of buffer zones is a necessary step, but the government must clarify what changes apply to already approved housing developments and how protections will be enforced moving forward. Regulatory reform is underway, but what does that mean in new legislation, mean in practice for our affected residents now? Our operators are already subject to strong penalties, and fast enforcements. But yeah, how is that going to be regulated? On the health monitoring, the inquiry found odours impacting well-being, as you said, the respiratory, skin, mental health, but which is good that not a cancer risk. The community needs a regular health surveillance timetable so residents can see the trends, not just a one-off review. Just want to know, will the government set aside funds? When I said before that they didn't say about setting aside funds, will they set aside funds for an ongoing review so we can monitor the health outcomes long term, not just in the short term review? Those are my questions for this report. I'm not against the report, but I think there's some questions that need to be answered and clarified as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Councillor Mason.
Yeah, I think there's many elements to the report that sort of confirm what a lot of people already knew. I understand that's how the state bureaucracy can work at times. It can be a slow-moving machine. I guess my mind kind of goes more to some of these things require money to be spent, and the suffering and frustration of the community has went on for a long time. So I really think there's genuine opportunities here for the state government to stop putting the waste levy funds into their general revenue and actually start spending that on improving infrastructure. Some of the stuff that's listed here is stuff that's diversion from landfill, which is good for other reasons, but also it's composting materials is something that can contribute to the economy when it's done properly, and then it can be used to improve soils and all sorts of things. So I think the state really needs to actually come to the table with money as well, given that they already actually directly have a revenue stream that's raising money for that. They're just not expending it. Maybe the youngest councillor on this term of council, but I do have a degree of cynicism that when governments make commitments and there isn't money attached to it, like how is some of the change going to happen within the industry? So I think we should, as a council, in future, continue to be quite loud about that, maybe even louder, because that's the sort of change that's needed in the economy of waste to see those improvements.
Thank you. Any other discussion? No? Just in closing, I'd just like to say that July that the public health inquiry occurred, I think our community relieved. In my discussions with the community after this came out, probably their one was about compensation, about even just for medications that they're taking at the moment. Some residents are paying a lot of money each month for injections and medication to manage the symptoms of which they most likely has been caused by the waste, in certain proponents in the waste. The other thing is that the report speaks to the work of the previous government and the current government, and also talks about the fact that that there's by September next year, obviously the number of composters will have to be enclosed. So residents are very concerned what happens between now and September. And like as you said last night, both to Councillor Madden and Councillor Martin, I went up to them last night and said you can smell the Tivoli smell at Tivoli State School, and that strong, pungent, disgusting odour. Thank you. I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Councillor Taylor's just gone out. Yep. We now move on to 16.3, which is the CEO Organisational Performance Report for 2025. Any questions or queries of the CEO on this report? No, in that case, I will move it. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. And speaking to this, I guess because it's the end of the year one, I can see that Ipswich residents logged more than 182,000 hours of organised sport this year, and that's a 12% increase that has been supported by new facilities, including the $3.5 million Silver Jubilee Clubhouse at Spring Mountain, upgrades at the Blue Gum Reserve and Redbank Plains Bears Junior Rugby League Football Club, and restoration of the Goodna Community Centre. These investments are building a healthier community, ensuring our strong grassroots participation continues to produce elite athletes as we head into the 2032 Games. It's also encouraging to see the positive news from our environmental DNA survey, confirming platypus are still present in our urban creeks, and that was a real concern of ours after the 2022 floods. This is a clear sign that our restoration and protection efforts are working, though the population does remain fragile. Safeguarding our waterways is essential to preserving biodiversity and ensuring Ipswich grows as a city where nature and community can thrive alongside each other. The report also shows that we value the voices of our young people, and the Ipswich Youth Advisory Council is a shining example of that commitment, with a record of 61 members participating this year. IAC, as it's called, has provided meaningful input into major initiatives such as the Ipswich 2032 Legacy Roadmap and the Central Urban Design Framework. Their contributions show us that civic engagement is strongest when every generation has a seat at the table. By investing in our youth and the youth leadership, we're ensuring Ipswich's future is shaped by those who will inherit it. Finally, I want to point out that we were successful in receiving a grant for a dedicated community recovery resilience officer who will work with Ipswich residents, service providers and local groups to identify needs and design recovery initiatives tailored to our community. This will strengthen Ipswich's disaster recovery and resilience capacity and better position us to be prepared ahead for the future storms, floods and fires. Councillor Doyle, as the seconder, do you wish to make any comments?
Nothing to add.
Okay.
Thank you for your commentary.
Thank you. I'll open up for other discussion. No, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. I just know that Councillor Taylor's not in the room. Thank you. 16.4 is the monthly financial performance report for November 2025. Any queries or questions on that? In that case, I will move that. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Tully. I wasn't going to make any comments on that. Councillor Tully, do you have any?
No, thanks.
No. Open up for any other comments or discussion. In that case, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. We now come to the notices of motion. And we've got two notices of motion here, both from Division 4. The first one is from Councillor Jim Madden, notice of motion on the master plan for Caledonian Park, Thaguna. He made that notice of motion on the 3rd of December. So I'll assume that you'll be moving that.
Yes.
Councillor Madden?
Yes,
Do I have a
Mayor.
seconder? Councillor Martin, thank you. I'll hand over to you, Councillor Madden.
Thanks, Mayor. My motion is that Council undertake community consultation using the Shape Your Ipswich platform to inform the development of a master plan for Caledonian Park at Thaguna. Caledonian Park's named after a Caledonian mine that operated at Walloon and up until the 1960s, Mayor, and was owned at different times by W.R. Black and John Ray. Since January of this year, Councillor Martin and myself have been dealing with the issue of the replacement of the antiquated long drop toilet at Caledonian Park with a flushable toilet, and I thank my fellow councillors for agreeing to apply $80,000 from the Tea Tree Fund at our last council meeting for planning and design of the various options to replace the existing toilet with a flushable toilet. But there are other issues that need to be resolved concerning Caledonian Park. The park is 7.5 hectares and is flood-free. Apart from Anzac Park in Rosewood, it is the only park in the Western Corridor big enough to accommodate a rectangular football field, an Australian rules football field or a cricket field. While Anzac Park is the home of the Rosewood Roosters, it can only accommodate one single full-size football field, and the grounds flood when the nearby Western Creek breaks its banks. Over the next 20 years, we expect the Western Corridor, which is the corridor between Carabin and Rosewood to increase in population from currently about 10,000 people to 70,000 people in 20 years. Caledonian Park is currently the largest public park in the Western Corridor. At the present time, the only sports club based at Caledonian Park is the Rosewood United Soccer Club, and they occupy about a quarter of the park. They want to know what Council's long-term plans for Caledonian Park are, and this is best achieved with the development of a master plan by the Council for the park. The purpose of my motion is to obtain feedback from the community to assist with the development of this master plan. And with the 2026-27 budget, I have made a submission seeking funding in the budget for council officers to prepare the master plan. But I also ask that in the Shape Your Ipswich campaign, council officers ask or seek feedback as to whether Caledonian Park is adequate to meet the future sporting requirements of the Western Corridor. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Martin as a second.
I concur with my learned colleague, Mayor. We have fielded a lot of questions from people in the community, and as Councillor Madden said, the population of Western Corridor will be 80,000. They're talking next 20 odd years. And again, he's quite right. There's a soccer field there, full-size one, and Rosewood Roosters play at Anzac Park. And we certainly need to be thinking of the future. I know last time plans were done, there were concept sketches for a running track and even the pony club utilising the facility, but it does have a large footprint, and I would like to see a master plan rather than just adding things willy-nilly. So I concur with Councillor Madden and think it's really worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. I think Caledonian Park is an important space for Thugoonabit, that Western Corridor area, and I believe that the community should have a voice in shaping its future. Councillor Madden and I recently went out to the park and had a look, and it's very clear the potential that is there. And I think consultation on Shape Your Ipswich that'll, really allow the community to put their views and their values is a really great idea. I'll open it for other discussion. Yes, Councillor Manson.
I've actually been out there myself, and I understand the point the divisional councillors are making about the population growth in the area. Over the next 20 years, it's going to explode, or is projected to. Part of why I'm supportive of this motion is that there are some existing structures, and when you sort of look at them, you go, oh, is that the best spot for that? So prior to putting in a new toilet block, which it seems to be going that way, that will happen, it's pretty important to get that in the right spot to allow as much utilisation as the park as the community can get. It's probably one of the few parcels we have in that sort of whole corridor or region that has the capacity to actually host multiple fields. So short of us buying another parcel somewhere else, I think it's essential that we have a plan for this particular facility.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Go to you, Councillor Madden, is the right of reply? Or go straight to the vote?
Oh, the only thing I wanted to say, Mayor, it's easy to say the population of the Western Corridor over the next 20 years is going to increase from about 10,000 to 70,000. But another way of putting it, and I often say this, that the Western Corridor is like the next Ripley Valley in Ipswich, and we have to build facilities to accommodate what we know. We know that we're going to have an increase in population because the developers have already submitted their development applications, sums up to 900 lots, and we know they've already been approved, and we've got to think ahead and get ahead of the game and not be caught in a situation where we don't have adequate facilities for future generations. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Thank you. Now, item 17.2, the notice of motion for master plan for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre, and obviously, Councillor Madden, you're the mover.
Yes, Mayor.
And the seconder, I'm assuming, Councillor Martin?
Good.
I'll hand over to yourself now.
Thanks, Mayor. My motion is that Council undertake a community consultation using the Shape Your Ipswich platform to inform the development of a master plan for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. Mayor, the Rosewood Aquatic Centre was opened in 1966. It is now 50 years old, so it's getting on, and We've got to consider whether improvements have been made. But in saying that, the pool is well used, particularly by the local swim club, the Rays Swim Club, and also by local schools. And Councillor Martin and I have been there when schools have had their carnivals, and it's a wonderful facility for the schools in the Western Corridor. It has a well-appointed gym, and the pool is used by residents for aqua aerobics and aqua healthcare. Earlier in today's meeting, councillors, in a previous council meeting, earlier today, Mayor, councillor resolved to extend the lease of the Rosewood Pool. I think that's correct, Councillor Tully? Yes. Earlier in today's meeting, councillors resolved to renew the lease for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre to Australian Crawl Goodner Proprietary Limited. With this lease, the company has paid a management fee by council to operate the aquatic centre. As well, in the 2025-26 council budget, $50,000 was provided for concept and design and consultation, and it's anticipated, or it's proposed, that in the 2026-27 budget, it is proposed that $100,000 is provided for detailed redevelopment of the Rosewood Aquatic Centre. Therefore, community consultation by way of Shape Your Ipswich is essential. I'm moving this motion to ensure that residents are accommodated, can contribute to the development of the master plan for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre, and as well provide feedback as to the facilities at the pool, the management of the pool, including what months and hours the pool is open. And I note that earlier today a petition was tabled with regard to the pool, and my motion fits in with that. Okay. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Martin, you wish to speak?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to concur again with my learned colleague. So the pool's 50 years old, and at the time it was built, was accommodating a population of about 5,000. So potentially opening this to Shape Your Ipswich in the future, again, with the population booming out there, 75,000 the next 20 years, potentially looking at having a 50-metre pool, noting that it is the only water play area in the region. There's no soft play water areas in the Western Corridor. So I'd just like to concur, put that out for a master plan. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. If it's 1966, I think it'd be 60 years that it's 60 years old. Look, again, I support this motion that you're bringing forward, Councillor Madden. This is a motion that's about listening to the community, making sure that any plans for the Rosewood Aquatic Centre and the facility there reflect what residents want. It'll be interesting to see if respondents want improved amenities, accessibility, programs for families, active programs for older residents, or just to enjoy a social side at the pool. And I think community feedback will help us to create a centre that serves everyone really well into the future.
Mayor, if I can just make a correction, the petition earlier today was to do with Caledonian Park.
Oh, yes, that's
right.
Thank you for the
correction. Correct my record.
That's okay. I'll open up for other conversation, discussion. No? Councillor Madden, would you like a right of reply?
No.
I'll go straight to the vote.
No, Mayor, other than that this is totally appropriate to be doing community consultation, given that in last year's budget we set aside $50,000 for planning and design, and in this year's budget we anticipate finalisation of the design. And it's probably worthy of mention, Mayor, that there are other issues in that area that Council is considering that might allow the pool to be increased to 50 metres, but pretty much the planets have to align for that to take place. And at this stage, I'd be very happy if the existing pool was upgraded, similar to how it is now, and makes best use of the land that's available that it's not currently doing. We have land there that's not being used. So I'd like the facility. And of course, the other thing to consider, Mayor, is we should be consulting with our contractor. You know, and they've spoken to me about what they would prefer, and I agree with what they're telling me. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Put the matter to the vote. Those in favour, please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. There were no questions on notice. I'm going to ask for a suspension of standing orders for the purposes of, I've noticed that committee chairs have been able to give a bit of a Christmas message, but those who aren't committee chairs haven't been given that opportunity, and I know I'm putting you on the spot. My apologies. So if I could move to suspend standing orders so that non-committee chairs could have a Christmas message to our community. Do I have a seconder for that? I think Councillor Antonelli, thank you. Vote on suspending those standing orders. Please raise your hand. It's unanimous and carried. Deputy Mayor, shall I go to you first to see if you'd like to give a Christmas message?
Thank you, Mayor. I would love to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, including all of our residents and our councillors and council officers, and thank everyone for a tremendous, eventful year, and looking forward to starting fresh in 2026. Keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Mayor. As we come together for our final councilary meeting of 2025, I want to take a moment to reflect on what's been a year of achievement, challenge and resilience for our community here in Division 3, but also across the entire Ipswich local government area. We know many local families have continued to feel the weight of economic pressures, the ongoing housing crisis, and of course the impacts of Cyclone Alfred earlier this year. These events tested us, disrupted daily life, and placed real strain on households and businesses. Yet through it all, the strength of our community remained absolutely clear. Major part of that strength comes from the people who show up, not because they are paid or expected to, but because they care. So I want to acknowledge the incredible contribution to our contribution of our local community groups, sporting clubs, neighbourhood organisations, and the hundreds of volunteers who give their time, energy and passion to support others in our community. Their work, whether it's on the sporting fields or in a community centre, fundraising events or during storm recovery, continue to be the backbone of our city. Also, this year has seen strong achievements that should give us confidence for the future across Division 3, new community initiatives, improved local facilities, and strengthened partnerships that have delivered meaningful benefits to our residents. These are the kind of changes that make day-to-day life better, and they're built on collaboration, good planning at council, and a shared commitment for our growing city. I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank fellow councillors. As a group of elected representatives, we're also daughters, sons, parents and caregivers, and despite many of us facing our own challenges on the family front this year, we have continued to show up for our communities. In that spirit, I want to acknowledge the sad loss of one of our own, Lisa Tully. Her passing has been deeply felt, and her service to her community will never be forgotten. Finally, and most importantly, I want to acknowledge our CEO, Sonia Cooper, whose steadfast leadership and commitment to our city has been an example to all of us. I want to sincerely thank the staff of Ipswich City Council, from the executive team through to our front-facing staff members, whether it's keeping our parks clean, ensuring our waste services run, planning for growth, or supporting our recovery after disaster. Their work behind the scenes keeps our city moving. Their professionalism, dedication and care for our residents is something we should all be immensely proud of. Despite the hurdles, 2025 has shown us who we are, a resilient, compassionate and community-driven city. And with that spirit, I know we can step confidently, hopefully, into the year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillor Martin.
Thanks, Mayor. I certainly don't want to concur with my learned colleague earlier that shared about the Grinch. It is...
You're not the one that called in the Grinch, are you, Councillor Martin?
No. Actually...
No, the Grinch is a... Watch the movie, Councillor Martin. For the record, Councillor Martin has been seen wearing Grinch socks, and he hasn't watched any of the adaptations.
Okay, I'll call for order. I'll put the floor back to Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. I'd just like to say it's an absolute honour and privilege to be here and being able to offer a Christmas message to residents of our fine city. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my fellow councillors. I'd like to thank the CEO and the executive leadership team for all they do. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to Ipswich City Council staff. They honestly make us look good, particularly those out in field services, mowing, footpaths, looking after our facilities. I'd also like to single out Karen and Alison, our long-suffering support staff. They work with Councillor Madden and myself, and probably put up with more from Councillor Madden than me. I'd like to thank the residents of Division 4 for their support throughout the year. I'd also like to take opportunity to wish them a Merry and Happy Christmas, and across the whole city. I'm looking forward to going to some more Christmas carol events. Hopefully the rain is good this weekend. I'd also like to think of those doing it tough. As Councillor Doyle alluded to, we have a number of folk in our city that are doing it tough. And yeah, heartfelt extension to Councillor Tully, first Christmas without his wife. And I know there are a lot of people that do it tough over Christmas. And whilst most of us have opportunity to spend time with friends and family, some people honestly don't. And there are a number of organisations, Salvation Army, Ipswich First, that are doing Christmas lunches for those that honestly don't have anybody. So yeah, with that, I'd like to wish everybody a warm and prosperous Christmas on behalf of my wife and I, and look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Martin. I now move that we go back into standing orders and come out of them. If I have a seconder for that, thank you, Councillor Martin. We vote. Those in favour, thank you very much. We're back in there. We now come to the end of this meeting. Just a reminder to everyone that there'll be no committee meetings in January, just with, I guess, to respect. We've all thanked council officers today, just respect for them to take leave as well. So we'll have the Uber meeting on the 29th of January, which will pull everything together. But I know the committee chairs are working very hard with everyone. I just ask that may this Christmas bring joy to your homes. May your holidays be safe and restful. Councillor Tully, my prayers are with you and your family. A really tough time of the year for you. And may the new year be filled with prosperity and new opportunities for our great city and its residents. And I'll close the meeting at 11:48 a.m. Thank you.